gear with Glenn Beck. You guys hopefully know who he is and his reach and his influence. But really, I'm here for one primary reason. When we were kind of evaluating our portfolio of clients and doing the analytics that we do to understand, gosh, who of our content and franchise partners are the most influential in actual purchasing and why? It's a big question that we ask ourselves every day of the week, right? Why did Duck Dynasty did $4 million in revenue last year, right? Why did NCIS only do, $400,000 in revenue last year? What is this dynamic between the audience and the revenue that's generated from that audience? So when we did that math and we looked, Glenn, at your audience and looked at how much revenue you're generating through your e-commerce sales, you're 10x any other client that we have. So my primary objective in kind of coming here today to chat with you was to dig into your brain to understand kind of mechanically how you've gotten your business to that point, and also philosophically why you think that your audience responds as they do. Those are two areas I'd love to start with.
Yeah, I think the first thing that we've done is, and I think honestly, the reason why I wanted to talk to you, and I was so excited, and I could share later on before we leave, I want to show you something that proves how long I've waited for you to walk through my door, is there's a lot of garbage and hoops you have to run through, and there's different partners and different contracts and different companies and everything else, and so it makes it very difficult to do what we do and what we're trying to do with our viewers and our listeners and our readers and everything else is never waste their time. You come in, everybody's so busy, there's so many layers of stuff that you have to go through. You just want to have the experience that you want, and you want to go. And so don't waste their time, respect them. We have almost, right now I'm on a Grateful Dead kick with the company. We got to study the Grateful Dead. You might not like their music. I've said that to people and they're like, oh, I hate their music. Forget about their music. They're genius. And one of the first things they did was, while everybody else was saying, hey, you can't, don't pirate our music, don't say, they trusted their fans. And they said, not only can you film our music and record our music, we're making a special place right up here on the stage. You can plug in and we'll give you the feed. Here's the deal. We trust you as partners. You can give it to a friend, but you can never sell it. Yep. So the audience became warriors for them because they treated them with respect. They didn't waste their time, they didn't treat them like morons, and they didn't treat them like they were just pockets of cash. Yep. If your company does that, and you actually put the customer first and say, who are they? What is it they're trying to do? What is it how can we help them do that? You'll change the dynamics, and they'll become your biggest warriors. Yep. Honestly, I trust the audience sometimes more than I trust the people who have been working with me for a long time, because we all get tired and we're all like start looking things as sausage, and we're like, okay, just let's get this done. The viewer, the listener, the reader never does. Never does.
So let's bang into the three, what it feels to me like the three core e-commerce initiatives that you've, as an entrepreneur, taken on. So one is the 1791 line, which you launched your own line. This is crazy. This audience will have no idea probably that you've got a line of denim jeans that you've sold, millions of dollars.
You're wearing our shirt
in the last couple of years.
You will never wear another shirt like that's the best shirt made.
But help walk us through how in God's name you designed, manufactured, and are selling $150 denim jeans through your own digital commerce footprint.
Why is the first place, and that is I have kind of my own sense of style. We're very artistically based. Most people don't even notice that, but if you look at our sets or anything, we're very artistically based, and we're into very high quality, and we're into made in America. And I'm watching how certain companies around the world were using the riots in Greece and the riots in Spain, and using them in positive ways to show, hey, look, we're rebels like you. Revolutions always end the same way. It's very bad. So you don't glorify revolutions. And one of them was Levi's. And I was so taken aback by that. Here's this great American company saying, hey, we're into revolutions and throwing Molotov cocktails. And And I started thinking about Levi's and what it has meant to the company. And I grew up wearing Levi's, and everybody I knew had button-fly Levi's. And then the fact that they now make them in China, and they do some here. So I wondered if we could make jeans that didn't stand for revolution, just stood for good quality and good values, and make them here in America. They are $150. I wish they weren't, but we're making them at Cone Mills, which is this is the oldest loom in America. It's the original loom that made the 501. We called them up and said, "Can you make that denim still?" They said, "Yeah." "Will you make it for us?" "Yeah."
So I'm curious about that, and it's a great segue to one of my other questions, which was around storytelling. So when you combine an influential guy like yourself with your media platform and your reach, how important is the storytelling aspect, do you think, as it relates to selling stuff?
The reason why I got into radio when I was 13 years old, 2 people influenced me. 3, but 2 are radio. The first influence at 8 was Orson Welles, and he did The Shadow. People, when I say that, people always like, "Oh yeah, War of the Worlds." No, no, no. The Shadow. This guy was amazing, and he could tell the best stories. And he would walk into a studio, and he was actually taken from studio to Broadway stage by ambulance, so he could turn the sirens on and get there in time. Okay, he was that busy and that much in call, and he would walk into the studio without reading the script, and he would say, "Okay," and he'd be thumbing through it. Who am I? They'd say, "You're an old German, you're 70 years old, you're disgruntled about this," and he'd be looking through, "Great, great, great. Okay, let's go." Live. Okay? The people that were around him had to be so good because he was an amazing storyteller, and he'd be reading the script as he went along. If he disagreed with it, he'd take it someplace else.
Sure.
And he was amazing. Great storyteller. The next one that influenced me was Paul Harvey. And I'll never forget, I was working at my dad's bakery, I was young, and I think it was Eastern Airlines that crashed at O'Hare. And all he said was, Eastern Airlines, O'Hare National Airport, 288 dead.
Yeah.
And I could smell the smoke. And it was so simple, but he told the story.
Yeah.
And he told it through his pauses and his inflection. And so those 2 things had real influence on me. The third was Disney. That's all he was a storyteller. He knew how to tell a story. All of life is a story. The reason why our kids hate history is because we have them memorize facts. Tell the story. Now, in advertising, it's even more important because this generation has been born on advertising. You know, when you're down to, ratings used to be 12 plus. When you can say, "Oh, 6 to 11-year-olds watch this show," and it's #1, they're marketed to all the time. So they're smart, they know, and they don't buy it anymore. We're all a little jaded.
Yeah.
So you now have to tell me a story that matters. You have to tell me a story, and if it's fake, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
And you have to be real about it. You can't hide anything. If you lead with, "Look, we didn't quite get this one right. We didn't get this part right, but man, are you going to love that. You're going to love this part. We're still working on that.
Yeah.
And when we get it right, you're going to love it even more." You just tell them the truth and tell it to them in a story as real people. Home run.
So interesting in kind of taking us into the advertising side. This is the other part of your e-commerce empire, if you will, that I'm so fascinated with. And I said to you earlier, from my perspective, this is kind of holy grail type of stuff. So for a lot of the folks in our audience, they're looking for Delivery Agent to help them kind of bring more accountability to traditional TV advertising, and in a perfect world, bring a commerce component to a 30-second spot, right? Just think about how transformative that is for the broad kind of $70 billion TV ad industry. And when I look at what you guys are doing, right, a couple of the things that struck me. One is, I think many folks, again, in the audience probably aren't aware that you have a marketplace platform where you are encouraging entrepreneurs to sell products directly to your audience. Right?
About to get much better now that you're here.
No, we're fascinated by that. But what was really exciting too is as I was talking to some of your guys, I mean, you have actually launched brands. there are brands that have either been born out of your voice or out of your reach, and it's pretty fascinating stuff. And I'm curious to, as you think about that and think about the value proposition for marketers in this day and age with a platform like yours, you know, why it's so powerful, and how do you think this industry ultimately plays out?
First, anybody who looks just at data, I don't think is going to get it. You have to. The world is shifting into experiences, lifestyles. You know, what does CBS mean? I don't know. I know the shows that are on it or used to be on it or whatever, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. HBO is probably the best. HBO means something. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean genre, but it means quality entertainment. Okay, I know what kind of entertainment I'm going to get from them. That's a pretty good brand. But these networks that are just collections of shows, that's over. You have to look at who are the people, what kind of people are we trying to attract? Disney used to have it. They got so focused on plush toys and buy this, buy this, buy this, that I think they've lost some of that. Hopefully now they'll be able to regain some of it. But the people internally have to A, care about the customer. Second, they have to want the accountability. I don't look at our partners as you know, advertisers. I look at them as partners. I want to know, we turn down business more than we take, because if it's not right, if I can't do the right job, you're going to go and say, I tried that Glenn Beck thing, it won't work. Yeah. Well, yeah, because you were wrong for it. It won't connect with my audience. I don't need the money that badly. But at the same time, I look at you and say, what is your dream? What are you trying to accomplish? What is it? And if I see, oh, wait a minute, that piggybacks on my dream, I don't know how long our relationship will work, but as long as those two dreams are on courses, we're going to be the best partners ever. Yep. Ever. Yep. Once you have that, I want to know. We used to, in the past, when I first got into national radio, have partners that would say, because they thought we were negotiating, oh yeah, well, the ad schedule's not working so well. That's not true. That's not true. Now tell me the facts, because I'm not going to say, great, it's working great, I'm going to raise your rates. I'm going to say, good, okay, that's what happens when we work this hard. You want to see what we can do now? Give me the real information, because by enriching you, you enrich me. And by serving the public, let's get it right. So I want the accountability. I don't know of a lot of people that do. They think it is a hassle. I think that one of the things that's coming, this is what we're working towards, is there's 41 minutes of programming, and I've got 300 people that are working on 41 minutes an hour. CNN or anybody else, and NBC, Universal, they've got studios and everybody. 41 minutes an hour they got to fill. Then, for 19 minutes, they're like, whatever. It's got to meet our standards, but whatever. What is that? What is that? I believe that networks need a programming department for those 19 minutes. I'm not just going to throw that away. That's why people tune out. If I can take and make stories out of those 19 minutes and make those 19 minutes things that people go, did you see what Cadillac is doing? Did you see they'll send it. It will become part of appointment television. Don't waste people's time.
Pretty awesome. And just for the audience, I was with Glenn's head of ad sales earlier, and we were talking about this and how they attack it. And he actually said to me, he said, look, when I talk to a marketer, or partner, excuse me, he said, I'll ask them what their average selling price of their product is, what their gross margin is on their product, and what their lifetime value is in a new customer. And I'll do the math, and if I don't think I can bring them a good ROI, we won't waste each other's time, right? And it struck me how absolutely fascinating and transformational that way of thinking is as you cut forward. But you know what?
It's because we're too damn stupid to know that that's not the way people did it. We were just like, I don't think this will work, you know? And people were like, what? But that's the way it should work. If you're just transparent, people, honestly, people will come back to us. We'll say we can't do it. They'll come back to us. No, really, we really want you. No, guys, we really can't do it. It won't work. It won't work. They want it more. They think it's some negotiating thing. No, we're just being honest. It won't work.
So speaking of that, I saw some spots. You have a large partnership with Overstock, I think, where you do your, I mean, it would be great for this audience just to understand kind of how that works. And I think it's a really cool combination of branding for Overstock as well as product-centric spots.
They're trailblazers as well. And they see that our audience responds if you get it right. And we think that, I have a vision that starts with that story of those 19 minutes, but goes much further than that. And what we want to do is, we know who our audience is. You know, I was in an office of a big executive, well-respected executive and well-respected network, and an entertainment network. And he said, we're trying to figure out how the hell you're doing what you're doing. I'm like, if you figure that out, let me know. But he said, and this is the most asked question, how do we do what you're doing? Answer, probably can't, because your model is set up for the old model. The new model has to be set up on who are we? Who are we? Who are the people we're trying to attract? Who are the people we're trying to serve? Now, let's just do that. And then the model all flips. And now you can go to people like Overstock and say, okay, I know you've got, you know, 1 billion things you're selling. Our audience will go for that, that, and that. Now, let's white label. Let's put this in as our brand. Let's really drill down, because we know who our audience is. So stop wasting time on all of the other stuff. We know who they are. Now let's get some real-time data. And as we're doing these things, like the Home Shopping Network did, but that won't work. It's not the Home Shopping Network anymore. It's storytelling and getting people in and knowing exactly what they need and saying, by doing this, you're supporting these great entrepreneurs, you're supporting this network. And it's not like viewers like you supporting this show, it's you. But I'm not asking you for a dime. I'm showing you there's a better way to get the product that you want, you need, at a better price. And by doing so, you're putting this product on the air. And we all win.
I want to buy something right now. I'm so.
I've got a fabulous pen.
But I wanted to hit on one point about your audience and sort of managing your audience in a respectful fashion. One of the things that we deal with and our clients deal with, which is, you know, how do you not oversaturate them with marketing messages, and how do you be sensitive to communicating to the audience both in content while they're watching your show or your program, through the social channels with Facebook and Twitter and whatever else it might be. How do you manage that? Maybe you've already spoken to it in terms of knowing your audience, but is there more to it than that in terms of how you guys think about it?
Yeah, I mean, New York does all the analytics. They've got, Chartbeat is a big one for us. There's a new one that we're using now. I can't remember the name of it. You know, and we've got them up on all the monitors, and we watch, and that's all really important stuff. You know, the New York Times wrote something about me when they were confused by me. Still, but they said, they followed me around for like a month, and they said, one of the strangest things was when listeners or viewers or readers come up to me, we hug. And they said it's a very huggy group.
Yep.
And to me, at least, for my company, that's really important. We have that connection. It's not, I went out on tour with Bill O'Reilly, and people would come up, and both very respectful to both of us. And we were sitting there, and people would come up and they'd say, hello, Mr. O'Reilly, how are you? It's an honor to meet you, sir. It's great. He'd say, thank you. Let's have a picture. and they'd take a picture. And it was all, it was all appropriate, and they were huge fans, and he was very gracious. And then he'd finish, and it was such an odd thing because I'm so used to it, and I'm like, "Hey, come here, how are you?" And he'd hug, and he was looking at me like, what is that all about? It's just a different way of doing it.
So let's talk platforms for a second, just in terms of how you see both your audience consuming you, device and kind of by media format. I mean, what do you see? How does this thing unfold for you in the next few years?
I think anybody who's telling you how things are going to look, they're either a prophet or they're arrogant or they're a liar. Yeah. And I try to be none of those. Our philosophy has been, we're content providers. No matter what that is, advertising or a show, we're content providers, storytellers. I don't care if you want to take my story and put it on, the stage of Radio City. You want to put it in a dumpy movie theater. You want to watch it on an iPad, a phone, from space, your bathroom. I don't care. You can watch it wherever. You can consume it wherever. So we try to be in all spaces, because I don't know how it's going to shake out. I think anybody who is thinking of the world differently than the Grateful Dead did are wrong. Any way you can say to people, just come, just come, just watch it. The secret here is, I want to get rid of the paywall, but one of the reasons why we sell so much stuff, and I need you to help me sell more stuff, is because I spend a lot on programming. I mean, I spend more than I think some networks spend on shows. Definitely more than cable spends on shows, because I believe in really high quality. And so we have to try to find a way to make the ads work, and take that 10x to 20x, sure, because then I can drop the paywalls.
So a couple more, just so we close the loop on 1791. I saw the new assortment. I mean, it looks like you guys, this thing is real. I mean, this is turning into a real brand. You're going to Magic this year. You're looking for retail distribution. We're obviously going to be selling a ton of it. I saw the new line. It looks phenomenal.
Thank you.
How involved are you in the design process?
Every step of the way.
Are you really?
Yeah. I have great design. I have a great designer. I have a great team. But every step of the way. If I don't like it, it doesn't go. If I won't wear it, I mean, that shirt, the prototype of that shirt, I wore on my ranch for the whole summer. And when I went having to go out and chase a lost sheep, I went out and put a barbed wire fence up. I went and I plowed my own, gravel on my drive at the ranch, and that shirt didn't have anything wrong with it. I wore it every single day and washed it every day. Then it was ready.
That's awesome. And how are you thinking about sort of category expansion? Because I saw you're getting in. You got the great pajamas line coming up for the holidays.
Yeah, it's not just clothes. We look at everything as an experience. What is it that you need? Our sets are really. This is one of the things I'm so excited about, and I don't know if it's arrived. May I come right back? Let me show you something.
This is
Hang on, I'll be right back.
So while he's doing that, Jennifer Aniston's sweater has arrived. For this audience, they'll know what that means.
So this is what has made me so excited about when somebody came into my office, they just said, "Glenn, your Chrysler building dream has arrived." And I just don't believe in coincidence. This damn piece of crap, I think I got at Pier 1 or something. But I saw this on the set of Friends in like 1996 or 98. Yep. And I searched and searched and searched. Where can I get the Chrysler building? This is my favorite building in New York. Where can I get the Chrysler building? Where is that? Where is it? I searched, I don't know how long. I finally found it in Pier 1. I was like, I thought I was insane because I'm like, it's the Holy Grail. I finally found you. Okay. So at the time I'm looking for this, I tell one of my producers, I think I only had one producer at the time, and I'm a nobody. I'm on washed up radio locally. And I said, you know what? At some point, the internet and television are going to merge. This is still when you're taking time to download one picture on the internet. And I said, television and internet are going to collide. There's not going to be any download. There's going to be download times. It's not going to be must-see TV Thursday night. It's not going to be like that. It'll be downloads. And then you'll be able to watch TV, and you'll see this sitting on the set, and you'll be able to go, boop, and it will say, here's what it is. Here's how much it costs. Then, boop, do you want one? Yes! Yes, I do. And so I've been waiting for that time to come. And because, you know, if you look at any of my sets, they're all filled with things like this. And our audience loves it because the stuff we have is all real. We have all, it's not fake, bogus, make it up, you know, in some shop in New York. It's all real stuff. And our audience looks and says, where can I get that? Where can I get that? Well, now I know exactly, I know exactly where they can get it. You can just go to your set and go, boop. Easy. So now 1791 has the ability to be able to be home goods and absolutely everything else. Good quality American made, which would not include this. Pier 1 imports. But you know, we have a chance to really expand. And what I love about you guys is you are, the best thing you said to me was, we have designers that we can bring in. We can help you. They'll just get a sense of the style. They'll A/B, because I look at everything. Everything. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You guys will do that with me. You'll take the pictures. You'll help prop the set. You'll change them out. You're the greatest part. I have been waiting since 1998 for this moment.
All right, so let me. I'm going to read this one because I just want to. I want to get a little personal here as we're wrapping this thing up. So, quote from our friend Eric Schmidt, Google CEO. He's on record saying that you are the success story from traditional media, and people are going to be studying what Glenn did for years and trying to replicate it. To have a model where you have internet and cable companies working together, it's extraordinary. My question for you, and maybe for our audience as well, that quote is extraordinary.
That's extraordinary.
It's real, right? And as an entrepreneur who's been trying to do the same thing for over a decade, any words of advice for myself, my team, and our partners within this industry that it's not always easy to connect all the dots that need to be connected?
Here's what I think someplace on my set is a radio that got me into radio. I'm 8 years old. And my mother yells at me and she says, go out. I lived in Seattle. It's raining all the time. It's like the one sunny day in the summer. And she's like, turn off the TV and go outside and play. And I hit the TV off and I said, you used to watch TV when you were a kid. And she told me the most amazing thing. She was like, we didn't have TV when I was growing up. And I'm like, Wilma Flintstone has a TV. How old are you? And she told me later about how Grandpa had a radio with a big green eye, and the tube would heat up and that eye would start to glow, and he would turn off all of the lights and they'd listen to, you know, the shadow. That's why I got into shadow. I'm 8 years old. Now when I was 8 years old, I wanted that magic. I wanted the magic that my mother remembered of that green eye. I wanted the magic of what I heard in my head when I was listening to great storytellers. I don't know what the magic was that made you say, that's what I want to do. But I can guarantee you, there's not anyone, anywhere, that says, oh, I remember when I said, man, I just want to be the jackass that everybody hates, and I'm sitting with a stick up my butt in my big office, and I'm just looking at numbers, and I'm just going to crunch them all day long. Nobody dreamt that. Nobody dreamt that. So the secret is, where were you when you first got in, before you started to realize, crap, the world is hard, there's a lot of jerks, there's nobody that really wants to do dreams, they just want to make it through the day and grab their check and go home. Who were you before you realized that's the way everybody else was? Find that person, be that person, and you'll change the world.
That is awesome. So that's phenomenal. I appreciate everything, man. That
Thank you.
That was just awesome.
Thank
and
you.
a great way to end this discussion.